being goddess state is always within reach. It's a state of activating the next version of you that's always wanting to show up. It's pivoting out of the imposter syndrome, head on, eyes open, even within the darkness of this major uprising. Welcome to the Rise of the Goddess Collective. I am your host, Michelle Julian, your goddess guide. Hi, we are recording, and it's Michelle Julian, your host of the Rise of the Goddess Collective, and I am so excited to be here with Jess. Jess and we met over a year ago, right before the pandemic, and I think we met in a group where somebody had mentioned somebody in Facebook, and I think it was just in the beginning when Jess, the angel that she is, she's an angel healer, and she decided to post something about starting, I think she was starting either a podcast or a YouTube channel. I'm not really even, I can't remember now because it's been like years. It's only a year, but it feels like years because of the pandemic. So Jess, can you tell us how you and I met?
Sure, no problem. Thank you for having me today, Michelle. I really appreciate being here. I remember meeting you because I was starting out my Your Angels Are Talking, Are You Listening podcast. And that podcast is all about miracles. I love the show Miracles. If you've ever watched the show in the 90s, I don't know if they have a new one, but I found the 90s version of it's just Miracles, and it's all about those life after death experience or near death experiences that people have. And I know that you have a rather interesting story. You had 4 near-death experiences, and you've created so many things in your time. So I thought it would be perfect because I love how you've taken your experiences in life and applied them in the business of what you're doing, because that's my biggest thing is I have a fun name, Jess Intuitive Angel Healer, and that's just to make people, I don't know, it just came about. I've had a name my whole life. People call me what they want, just don't call me late for dinner. But I like that my biggest thing is I wanted to have a business. And when I found out in my spiritual awakening in 2017 that I had a connection to the angelic realm, I wanted to use it in my business. And I didn't want to be a fortune teller. I didn't want to tell people's futures or give you the winning lottery numbers, because, that's really shallow to me. And I've had a lot of money, and money at some point doesn't make you happy. So I wanted to, what do I do with all these gifts when you find out, hey, I'm a healer. This is actually working. This isn't a coincidence anymore. And I created this business, and now I work with women over 34 to help them heal toxic relationships. My biggest thing I like to help people with is toxic relationships, because we've all experienced them. And most of the reason why any of us are stuck in life right now is because we've experienced a toxic relationship that has attached to us so much and smothered us where we can't even move forward. So that's what I like to do with my gifts. And that's what I like that you use your gifts for, is specifically to heal women. And March is National Women's International Month, and they actually put it in the history books to the government did. So I think that's really cool that we have a month in March that we celebrate all the empowered women. And that's what you do with the Goddess Collective, is you empower women to know that you don't have to be meek and frail, and you can do anything you put your mind to, and stop listening to but you don't have to be. That's the thing that women have a hard time with, is being fierce and being over the top, ultra independent, and with the trauma wounds. So it's a balance there. But that's why I chose and I ran into you, because I really love your energy of how you help other women learn, how to internalize that feminine aspect, because we live so in our masculine energy every day as women, and it's time for us to be women again.
Exactly. Exactly. I totally resonate with your energy. And I think it's so unique in a way that as human spirits that we can be directed in a way that helps us connect with the right person so we can share what it is our soul is here to share. And for me, we talked a lot about for our I call it the behind the scenes. We talked a lot about being a healer and what it's like to be a healer and someone that understands the angel and the spirit world. How it's a very vulnerable situation. It's a dichotomy where we want to share this information and have an online business, but at the same token, to be discerning and be careful with who we attract as clients, as well as who we have in our um my my husband calls it your inner circle, right? It's not that you are being not inclusive, but you do need to be discerning.
Yes.
Discernment is a devotion to yourself and to your tribe of people that you are gathering so you can create a portal, a sanctuary. So
Exactly.
for you, it's a critical component of your journey because as a real angel, worker, healer, when I say real, I mean like you are doing the work. You've been through the work, you're doing the work, and now you're helping people heal from toxicity. That's a huge undertaking. And that is a huge, vulnerable um, undertaking. And that's one of the reasons why I integrate Brene Brown's work in my coaching with healers like yourself, because we've got to be careful and be compassionate to ourselves first and protect ourselves first, and know that to be discerning is also a good thing you're doing for the person that you're working with, because they need to learn how that lines up for themselves so they don't continue those toxic relationships. So I would love for you just to share um, a chapter in your life, in your business, you know or your personal life, where you had to figure out how to innovate and pivot because of this crazy pandemic energy.
Well, I think that's been my whole life. I don't even think it's a chapter, because when you're an empath, I'm, this past couple of years, I've worked on my self-love. I've known I've had a problem with my self-love. It wasn't, hard to figure out, even though I was acting a mess, hot mess in my 20s and 30s. I always in the middle of it, and every woman does, or anybody who loses their mind is like, why am I doing this? Why am I acting crazy and yelling and being messy? And I learned, you know what? First of all, I want everybody to repeat this with me. It's not your fault. It is conditioning, okay? Because I learned I'm not only living out my karma, I'm living out my parents' karma. Do you know? And I've been working with the shadow side a lot lately, and I've been learning more about it. And I've always, been interested in all this, but I'm learning as parents, when the moment that you sit with your child and you share any of your pain with them, any or you just blatantly like do what you do as parents, say no, I'm not going to listen to you right now, sit down, be quiet. Whatever you do that was your generational conditioning will be passed on, and now you're laying your shadow on your child, and now your child has to go figure out your karma as well as theirs. So that's why we at some point go, what the hell are all these life lessons? I am not that bad of a person, and it doesn't feel right. It's because they're not just yours. And that's what we're figuring out, is that I've taken on a lot of my parents' stuff, and my dad passed away when I was 16. So he haunted my dreams for a while, because what happens when somebody passes is that if you have guilt, shame, any negative feelings, you're drawing them back here. You will not let them go. And you're like, why aren't you passing over? Well, because you unfortunately aren't letting me go. But at first I couldn't handle the dreams and the nightmares and stuff. And then over the years, that's what's really pushed me. Spirit's been pushing me my whole life to figure this stuff out. And I finally am starting to learn that the more that I clear up, the more it clears up for him, and the more he can go do his thing. And I just feel like we get so wrapped up in this 3D world of and put such a little box on what we can and can't do. And it's really a matter of perception. And I come out here and a lot of people don't understand me. I know that I had a blocked throat chakra for many years, and that was due to all the toxic relationships that I've been in, and the toxic marriage that I was in for 10 years. So with that, I've learned a lot of stuff comes up here really good, but it doesn't come out here really good. And depending on what vibration I am, I started noticing I get people to come over, and it's hard because you just go through your regular stuff. But when you come on here, now I've just invited, because I had somebody tell me that, and they said, well, Jesse, you need to sit down and say, I'm worthy, or you are enough, and you are a beautiful person, right before you interview any of these people, because you're when you're an empath, you feel people's energy. So if you feel shameful and you don't feel good about yourself, you're going to sit with me and I'm going to be like, yay, I'm having a good day. Angels, the sun's shining. And then all of a sudden you're just going to have me start crying. And I've had that. And that's the experience, is that I pick up on I'm so sensitive to energy that I can pick up. And actually I've just involuntarily started crying, and I'm like, what is this going on? And it's that person. So it's a very fine balance of coming on here and being vulnerable, because I think my hardest walk on this path is to be nice and see the love and light and be an angel. Because I came here, I feel almost as the angel of mercy. I came here as a second chance to earn maybe my wings. There's something that I needed to do, and that's why I've got this whole mission. And that's the only thing I can think of. But it's hard because I want to be vulnerable and open myself up. But how do I do that and be private? You know what I mean? So I never share everything in my life. Nobody does. But I share the things that I feel that I'm okay with. So I always tell people, speak what your truth, and share what you feel, but stop caring about what all the people around you think, because you know what? If I did that, I would go insane. I've had people come over and tell me my colors are too bright for them. My this is too that for them. They've got too many words on my pictures, and I'm like, well, that's great. Would you like to buy my program? If not, are you going to pay me for your criticism? Because that's what some people want to come over and give you their opinion, but you'll start noticing those people also aren't going to support you. So why give any energy? And I've learned, I follow um, the four agreements: is be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best. And if you can try to live by those four magic agreements, you will learn that most people are just projecting their own reality onto you. And so I'm learning not to get caught up in when somebody comes over and upsets me. I'm like, I'm not even gonna feed back into it, because now you've just shown me what your world is like by your emotions, if you makes any sense.
Makes total sense to me. You're speaking my language. It's a language, as a healer, as an angel, intuitive guide, that in itself is a mouthful, right? And angel and intuition and healing is really kind of been one of those words now that's kind of like commercialized.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that, and I'm sure you can relate to this, is when I met my husband over 10 years ago, we never saw what we see now, which is a lot of shiny meditation, a lot of shiny explanation of meditation, a lot
Hot
of,
yoga.
yeah, yeah, like hot yoga and all of this stuff that really, again, it's the shiny object syndrome. It's making things shiny so people will actually be interested in doing it, because meditation, this, is very powerful. It's so powerful and it's so simple, and you don't have to pay people thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands, and I'll say that again, thousands of dollars to actually learn to meditate. Matter of fact, I'm sure you offer your own meditation guides and audios for free, because they aren't something that's complicated. Okay. And there's no magic meditation that's going to give you a um a desire that you desire, right? It's about going within. And so I think this in itself, having this podcast, is bringing people down to earth of, yes, I'm a goddess. Yes, I'm a human spirit having a human experience. Like you're an angel, you're a healer. You actually have the ability to listen to your wisdom within. That's your intuition. There's no shiny here. There's only real, raw authenticness and discernment for you and your own personal soul's growth. So, with that being said, what kind of advice can you share with your audience about how they can do their own intuiting and healing without actually working with an angel healer?
Well, my first thing that I tell everyone is, and it's really simple, awareness. Awareness comes first. If you aren't aware there's a problem, guess what? You can't fix anything, and you can go to counseling. That's why people sit in counseling for 20 years, because they regurgitate the same story over and over and over again, but you never really face the meat and potatoes of the situation. And that is because most counselors, I think they're afraid to walk you down that space, because the shadow side is a dark side, and it takes a very special person to walk in the darkness with another soul, and especially put your feelings and ego and everything. I put mine to the side uh and simply feel that person's feelings. But for you to start on this journey, you have to evaluate your environment. You have to write a list of things that aren't working. What are 5 things that make you feel like shit every day you wake up? What are 5 things that are just not working for you? How is your love life? Are you okay with your husband? Are you okay with your kids? You have to go through this gamut of things, this list, And usually I always tell people the first thing that pops in your mind, because when I do an exercise with people, I love to do visualization exercises, because I really feel if you close your mind, if you close your eyes and you visualize, that's activating the right side of your brain, which is where spirit lives in, your intuition. If you're living in corporate America, living the regular 9 to 5 life, you're more than likely living on the left side of your brain, which is logic. And you can live in logic all day long. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want the manifestation game to work for you and any of this stuff to work for you, you can't go to the left side, because they're like oil and water. They don't mix. You have to have it on, you have to work on one side or the other, but you can't live too much in your right side, because you are in a 3D world. See how you got all these, but you can't do this, but you can't do that, but awareness. Just start out with the awareness. And the biggest thing is our bodies are meant, they're programmed to tell us when something's not right, whether it's in your emotions, whether it's in your mind, whether it's in that person's energy. You will get a feeling in your body somewhere. Now that's the first thing you need to do, is start assessing the feelings. When you walk in a room, how do you feel? Not what do you see, but how do you feel when you walk in that room? Does it feel bogged down, like a bunch of fogs in there? Does it feel light and airy and happy? That's going to tell you what you're about to enter into. So it's all about, take all the fancy schmancy words out of it. Even meditation, it's about sitting with yourself and your thoughts. And most people can't do meditation because, like I said, it's your shadow side is scary if you don't understand it. But if you can step over that fear, I am living proof that fear, there's nothing on the other side of fear. So imagine if you're in counseling for 20 years and then you finally get on the other side of fear and you find out there's nothing there. And that's what you find out, is there is nothing on the other side of fear. It is something that fear is something we blow up in our mind, and our ego helps us because it wants to have control of us. But our soul side is like, go get it. So I always tell people, it's simple. If you feel like you got butterflies in your stomach, but you're a little nervous, a little scared, but it's okay, do that. If you feel like you've got a boulder in your throat and you feel like you can't move when you think about this situation, probably don't do it at all. Just keep going, because if it's meant for you, it'll always come to you. But if you attach yourself to stuff that is not yours, not your energy, not your blessings, not your whatever, guess what? You're delaying your own blessings. So you've really got to disconnect from all the chaos. And really, our biggest thing is we have a hard time standing up for ourselves. And when somebody says, no, you're wrong, your husband, your wife, your whoever, that is the moment we shut down and we're like, okay, well, we're not good enough. I'll listen to you. You were right. I was wrong. And that's why most of us shut and get stuck in this crappy reality that most of us are stuck in, because we've shut down our soul side now because we listen to the logic side. Does that make sense?
Yes, makes complete sense to me. And I think the audience will understand that it's all about slowing down, looking within, looking at the shadow as you explained it. And I love the way you explain the shadow, that we all have a shadow, and that we're not supposed to be spiritually bypassing that shadow. We're supposed to literally embrace the shadow, because within that shadow, that's where the wisdom lies. It's not about up in the light and all of the joy necessarily. Joy does give us information, but joy is really more a response to working through all of the shadow energy, the feelings, for our own wisdom to come out within. And so I think the audience totally gets what you're saying. So just looking at 2021 and seeing now that there's light at the end of the tunnel, because people are starting to get vaccinated and they're starting to really get that, this pandemic thing was not going to go away in a couple of months and it was real, and it's like not like a made up thing, that it's actually is here, and it's science, and you can't like necessarily make it go away because you decide it was a conspiracy theory. So what do you see you doing in 2021 for the rest of the month? Now it's already March 17th. What do you think for 2021 for you? What's your like focus for just the springtime?
So, excuse me. Um, so it's funny because at the beginning of this pandemic, I finally got myself enough courage to go and buy myself a Reiki table and all, a radio to play and the scent diffuser and everything. And literally the week that it got shut down, everybody's like, COVID. All of a sudden, and now it's been sitting for a while because I was like, well, I can't do anything right now with this because even, it was just at the very beginning. So I was like, okay, put that away. And I just started working on doing my intuitive coaching and stuff. So now that we are at the end of it, and I feel people because Reiki is more, I touch you when I do Reiki, because I feel that even though you can send it without touching, it's part of my process. And, most people are gonna like it better when I put my hands, because my hands get really hot, and that's how I know Reiki works, because my hands are like ice cubes. I have the worst circulation in the world. I get yelled at all the time for having cold hands. But when I do Reiki, like I have little balls of energy, because I do green healing light with Archangel Raphael too. And it's kind of a similar thing, but I'm next week I have a women's conference, a Zoom women's conference that I've created, and it's got 8 speakers on it, and they're going to be telling their story along with educating us about a woman from history in the past. And so that's going to be a week long because it's International Women's Month, and I needed to create some kind of event to pay homage to the women in the past. I picked Dolly Parton and the Post Lady because and this is what I got the inspiration from, because I was watching a documentary. And did you know the Post Lady was left her business, a cereal lady, okay? Her dad created Post cereal, right? And he did not manage his emotions very well, and he had terrible stomach problems. He ended up dying, right? Left his whole business and company to her in like whenever like the 1900s, and made her the first millionaire woman. And so she goes and sits a meeting with all these guys. Imagine back in the day sitting, and they're like, "Hi, sweetie, what do you, blah, blah, blah." And she's like, "Excuse me, it's Miss Post to you. And I'll be running the meeting because I'm the owner." But that people like that give me such encouragement, because she had to have a lot of brass cojones to even stand up to those men back in the day, because men used to rule everything. And it really was a thing that women were supposed to be seen and not heard, just like children. And we were supposed to be barefoot and pregnant. And when your drunk self came home, we're supposed to rub your feet and give you another beer. So I am doing this whole conference to help empower women, because it's really sad how many women out there don't know our history of where we came from. And a lot of younger generation are basing their history on the millennials, the stuff of the 90s. And I'm like, no, we need to go, y'all need to learn. So I'm doing that as I want to help teach the community. And I think it's very important. You have to know where your history came from, or you can't argue anything. You can't stand up and fight for anything if you don't know the facts of it. But I am doing that. I'm also going to start doing my Reiki. I'm going to just simply get you're sign it off. And I'm here in Colorado, so I like to do Reiki in person. I do my intuitive coaching. I have my Toxic Shadows program, which is a 6-week program, and it helps you build up your self-love and create that foundation again, to get you from a toxic mindset to an actual productive self-love mindset. And I also have created an heart-centered entrepreneur service. And that just helps people, that are struggling with their businesses, because a lot of heart-centered businesses out here struggle. Some of them don't make it past the first year, and that's because negative gets so much attention out here. And when something, because there could be 2 stories on the news. A guy goes and murders his whole family. That'll be playing all day long. But the same guy in the same, or a different guy in the same town, could go and give out $5,000 to the local charity. Guess which one's going to get more uh, action, spotlight on it. So I made an actual podcast. So you'll see, I have Spoken Like an Angel podcast right here. This is my podcast because I'm a Pisces, and I can't just pick one. So I decided to house all of my series because I have an author meet and greet series. I have my Toxic Shadows series, and then I have my entrepreneur series. So I show all of them here on my Spoken Like an Angel podcast on Facebook, because I do them in audio and video, and then I have my YouTube channel as well. So
Yes.
I am a busy girl, and I'm always
And you're doing this all yourself, correct?
yeah. Yeah, I hired an assistant, but really she is just helping me. Right now she just started and she's doing an amazing job, but yeah, she's helping me to keep the pictures going and my page is flowing, because if you've ever ran a Facebook or an Instagram page, ladies, gentlemen out there who are struggling, just know what is it? It's not you. Because there's the algorithm. So I just want to give encouragement to anyone out there who's like, why is my page only getting 3 likes? I am so much way cooler than this. This is crap. I promise you, it is not you. It is not your content. It is a simple fact that they got greedy in about 2011 and decided, hey, you're a business. If it even shows in the algorithm that you're a business, you have this magic door that gets shut down. So my whole time, I've just don't play with that. I don't do the ads. I do organic growth. And so focus more on the organic growth and they even made a joke. I feel old. I'm only 40, and they made a joke on TV the other day, and it said, word of mouth. That's how they used to do it. I'm like, oh my God, I was born in 81. I'm not that old. But that's like we're moving into a technology is becoming so like such our big thing. And I'm just telling you, if we take it back to simplicity and maybe do things like sharing, follow, like your fellow friends' page, and stop paying all this money to the ads, and guess what? They would stop having a use for it. It's like stop feeding the plant. But that's kind of why I don't do the ads too, because if I'm just encouraging you to keep taxing me if I keep paying for your thing, because what I'm doing is working for me, and my angels are not going to let me have my focus on a bunch of numbers of how many people like my page that day, because if I'm going to put what I do is healing against, I mean, it hurts my feelings for a minute, but then I'm like, nobody saw it, because if people saw it, then they would like it, because I just know, I'm confident in my work.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I like it to,
You're confident in the light. You're confident.
yes, I'm confident and I have faith in the light that I don't need to worry about being popular and everybody knowing about me. I need everybody to know about my stuff and just to get healed. My main mission is to come here and heal. I want to help you people to detach their mindset of all this shallow, monetary stuff that we get. It's the shiny object syndrome.
Right. Exactly. The shiny objects under which we all have it. We're human beings. it's like human nature to want something shiny, to desire something. That's our true nature, to desire something. But how do we get fulfilled, right? So I just am so glad that you had time today so I could interview you. And you are on YouTube, which people are going to find out about your YouTube channel because I'm going to put it in the notes of the podcast. But if you want to share right here how people can just get a hold of you really quick, they can hear it.
Sure.
Um, why don't you
Um,
share?
so my YouTube it's on Jess Intuitive Angel Vibes with a Z. And you can just type that in and it'll pop up because there's only like one other Jess Intuitive. But
I think that's great to find you on YouTube and that they can see you, they can hear you, they can feel the energy here on the podcast, but to see you, it's even more powerful. They can get the healing Jessa energy right onto them when they watch the YouTube channel. I mean, hey, if we're Netflixing, we might as well Netflix the light into our own like DNA here. So, is there anything else you want to share with the entrepreneurs who are small businesses, coaches, or trying to launch online? And what is like your favorite hack to get through the day? Do you have an app? Your favorite tea? Something that inspires you to keep going.
so I actually for that I listen to YouTube, and I actually have YouTube on my channel right now with the angels because I listen to a lot of meditations. They calm my mind, and that's what helps me is binaural beats. I listen to whichever binaural beats. Some of them you have to, if they start irritating you, take them off because there's something in some of those you have to, you'll know if it's not the right one for you. But I tend to listen to those, and I tend to I pray a lot. I talk to my angels. I'm working on developing my strengthening my connection and my mediumship right now as well, because I can talk to the angelic realm, but I can also talk to spirit land too, and my past over loved ones. But because fear overcame me my whole life, and they used to appear in front of me and I used to actually physically see and hear stuff, but because I didn't have the understanding, I shut all those gifts off. So now they're just laughing because one day I was like, go away, you guys scare me, and now I'm like, come back, I was just kidding. But I have actually a poem that I would like to read for my advice, for because it is called Purpose. And if there's anything that coaches, entrepreneurs, any of us need in this life, it is purpose. So if you don't mind, I would like to just read this real quick.
Absolutely.
And I think if you guys would like my advice, you'll definitely get it out of this. So this is a poem I wrote. It's called Purpose. Purpose. What does this mean to you? Do you live in your purpose every day, or do you run and hide? Does your purpose serve you, or is it there to serve your ego? Non-purposefully, we wake up every day. A switch in our bodies is turned on no matter if we live on purpose or not. Some of us use our purpose to enrich the lives of others, and some of us squander the gift of purpose and instead try to impose judgment and control on others so that they are not confident to walk in their purpose, and they can rise to the top through manipulation and greed. My purpose is to spread love and light to the survivors of the darkness, the fleers of the toxic shadows, and those that feel purposeless. A kind soul told me some powerful words about purpose one day that I would like to share with you. She said, raise your right hand and place it over your heart. Do you feel and hear the beat of your own heart? That is purpose. With every beat of your heart and every breath you inhale, remember, purpose is individual, purpose is personal, and purpose is divine. Living in your purpose every day can make the good days great and the worst days greater. Each lesson learned contributes to your purpose, and redeems your faith with the power of miracles experienced when we walk in our purpose. So again, I pose the question of purpose. How can you find your purpose today? Are you afraid of the uncertainty of purpose? Do you fear that changing your mindset on purpose will cause you to adapt a new way of living? Purpose is fulfilling and will always overflow your cup. Purpose is not something to be changed, rather a feeling to be embraced. Purpose shows up when the student is ready to free themselves of the non-purposeful tasks and immerse themselves in their souls and authentic ways of living. Today, let's free ourselves from our egos and start walking in our purpose. Taking time to reflect on your purpose and ask yourself, am I living purposefully or just on purpose?
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much, Jessa, for being I'm sorry.
Yes.
I have a girlfriend that's Jessa. Jess is Jess. Thank you so much. And
You're welcome.
so honored that you came here on my podcast. And I'm sure everyone is going to enjoy it. And I will be talking to you real soon again. Have a great
Awesome.
day. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for being here inside the Goddess Collective. I wanted to let you know that when you come to the collective, you are receiving free resources that help you with your self-awareness. I created free trainings for you. It's the Julian Method Goddess Activation Group. It's free and it's a face group collective to help you get started with a new way of living. Follow along and witness the power of intentionally living with me and step in to the new realm of self-care for the activated goddess. They're bare bones, basic 101 goddess tips and tools. You'll get a 3-day consecutive boot camp. It's a taster of the Julian Method. I help you get started on your goddess practice. You'll find it at the juliangoddesscoaching.com. And also, a real special treat, you can receive the Being and Becoming Goddess Oracle deck. Yes, I birthed this during the pandemic. Super juicy. You'll receive a published deck with a digital deck and also your own goddess activated meditation audio. Juicy, juicy goddess things are in store for you. I am so excited for you and this journey. Have a glorious day, and remember, your activation is my activation. Have a great day.